So after learning angiotensin receptor convertase enzyme inhibitors, that is ACE inhibitors, and ARB, that is angiotensin receptor blockers, we will start with diuretics as a treatment strategy for congestive heart failure. So the drug of choice are loop diuretics, though chlorothiazide are also used, hydrochlorothiazide are also used for the treatment. So loop diuretics are the drug of choice because they rapidly decrease the edema. If you remember, they are the strong acting diuretics. So mechanism of action, you have to recall from the diuretic chapter that they increase the sodium and water excretion. How do they do that? If you don't remember now, you can refer to the diuretic chapter audio and video wherein loop diuretics are explained. So you will have to explain here also in short their mechanism of action, where you can mention which receptor are they blocking or which transporter are they blocking, location of that transporter, and their ultimate action is to increase sodium and water excretion. This sodium and water excretion, increase in this causes decrease in the plasma volume or decrease in the interstitial fluid volume, because the interstitial fluid, that is fluid which is contained in your circulatory system, suppose initially it was 5 liters, now it has reduced to 4 liters. So imagine the pipe diameter, everything is same, but the amount of fluid which is flowing through that pipe is decreased. This will lead to decrease in the pressure exerted by the fluid on the pipe, and this will lead to decrease in the venous return also. So what will happen? The preload will reduce. So the amount of blood which is coming into left ventricle from left atrium, that will reduce, because overall volume of your all body fluids have decreased. So blood volume has decreased. So the volume, amount of blood which heart has to pump has decreased. So it will ultimately lead to reduction of preload and reduction of afterload. And ultimately cardiac workload is decreased. So your heart may be able to pump efficiently now because of the diuretics. And this will also relieve pulmonary edema. Okay. I have explained you why edema occurs. Okay. And that pulmonary edema will also be relieved with the help of diuretics, because they cause overall decrease in the interstitial fluid volume. So your loop diuretics are going to give you, or overall diuretics, whichever you use, are going to give you increased water excretion and sodium excretion from the body. That is going to lead to decrease in the plasma volume. That is ultimately going to reduce the workload on the heart, and then that will solve the problem of edema also. The adverse effect, hyponatremia, gout, ototoxicity are the adverse effects which are because of these diuretic agents. Based upon which diuretic is used, that is whether you are using furosemide, which is a loop diuretic, or you are using hydrochlorothiazide. Okay, based upon that you can mention drug specific side effect. These are contraindicated in pregnancy, so that is diuretics. Next class of drug is aldosterone antagonists. So aldosterone, you have to recall, aldosterone is a part of renin-angiotensin aldosterone system, RAS system. Okay, and the drug which acts as aldosterone antagonist is spironolactone. You have to recall the mechanism of action of spironolactone from diuretic chapter. For that, you can refer to the video which captures spironolactone mechanism of action. So ultimately what it leads to is increase in the sodium excretion and increase in water excretion. And this ultimately again leads to decrease in blood volume, which leads to decrease in preload, afterload, edema, as well as peripheral vascular resistance, because the fluid which is flowing through the blood vessel is reduced. The adverse effects are hypotension and hyperkalemia. Now, why hyperkalemia occurs with spironolactone? Again, you have to refer to diuretic video and you will get your answer there. Next class of drug is inotropic agents. Before discussing inotropic agents, we will discuss beta adrenergic blockers. So beta adrenergic blockers, beta receptors belong to adrenergic system, which is a part of sympathetic system. So beta adrenergic blockers are we'll discuss their mechanism of action. What do? They are going to decrease the sympathetic outflow to the heart, and that leads to vasoconstriction. Now this vasoconstriction will, of course, what it will do? Inhibition of vasoconstriction will decrease the peripheral vascular resistance, which will ultimately increase the ejection fraction. Can be made clear with this diagram here. So what is happening? The constriction of the blood vessel is inhibited. So blood vessels are widened. So your ventricle, which is consisting of myocardium, has to take less effort to pump the blood, or with the same effort which it is taking, it will be able to pump more blood into blood vessels because they are resisting less. So that is the basic mechanism of action of beta adrenergic blockers. So what is going to happen as an effect? Decrease in the peripheral vascular resistance, increase in the ejection fraction. So these are the two principal major effects of beta blockers, which you will be able to see with the treatment of beta blocker therapy. Next effect is increase in the heart rate, because you are overall decreasing the sympathetic innervation or sympathetic outflow. So the heart rate is going to decrease. If your heart rate decreases, the oxygen demand by heart cell will decrease, and there will be more time available for heart to fill the blood in systole. Meaning, if your heart, okay, for example, what is going to happen? This is normal. Heart is beating, suppose 60 beats per minute, for example, okay. So the amount of fluid, the time it is getting to fill the fluid here is supposedly 30 seconds, okay. Now, if you increase that time to 90 seconds, more amount will be filled. You fill more amount here, more amount of blood here, you will give more amount out. So this is how more time to fill blood in systole will lead to increase in the left ventricular ejection fraction, which will lead to increase in the stroke volume. So this is how beta adrenergic blockers will help. Decrease oxygen demand by the heart cell will cause lesser progression of damage to the heart cells. Example of drug, carvedilol. Carvedilol additionally has renin inhibitory effect. You have to recall, renin is the first agent or first molecule which is released from juxtaglomerular cells, which is a part of renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So if renin itself is inhibited, entire effects of RAS system will be inhibited. The adverse effects are hypotension, hyperkalemia, fatigue, and weakness. Now, question which can be asked is why beta-1 selective blockers will be preferred? Not only in normal patient, but specifically in case of asthma. You have to find the answer to this question. And when I will be conducting one Zoom session for entire class to discuss the outcomes or to summarize the entire chapter, that time I will be of course asking you these questions. Thank you.